update you on all the running stories, and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Citi Prime News. The news is live from our studio at Adabraka in Accra. I am Zoe Abube-Eduardo. Coming up, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana backs Tema Oil Refinery's comeback as it urges government to stay focused on its revival efforts.
We should see our political leaders make every effort at this point to give the Ghanaian consumer that confidence that it won't be business as usual with the refinery and that we're going to put in whatever investments that are needed.
Also coming up, 10 new cases of Mpox recorded, bringing the country's total tally to 117. Still ahead, Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association calls for inclusion in government's upcoming Nkukwo Nketenkete initiative.
If the government is serious about targeting the benefits of making sure Ghana is self-sufficient in the production of poultry, then we will plead that the government meets with the identified poultry bodies.
And later, after a highly successful and well-patronized agri-fair organized by Channel 1 TV with support from Citi FM, stakeholders within the agricultural value chain call for more deliberate efforts to make the sector appealing to the youth. Stay tuned as we bring you highlights from the 3-day fair held over the weekend.
It's been crazy. With the numbers we've had, we didn't expect. This has been a very well organized, well publicized, and the crowds have really responded well to whatever you guys did. So kudos to you.
The news is live across a number of our partner stations in the Western region. We're on Premier 100.5 FM, Sky Power 93.5 FM, and Beach 105.5 FM, all in Takrady in the Bono region. We're on J-Life 95.5 FM in Sunyani, Ashanti region, Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi, Volta region, Akpini Radio 96.7 in Pando, Heritage FM 107.3 in Hohoi. In the Northern region, we're on Dasuma 99.1 in Yendi, Upper East, World FM 88.3 in Zwarungu, Upper West, Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura, and in the Northeast region, we're on Eagle FM 94.1 in Wale. We are also live on YouTube on Citi FM's YouTube page, as well as our Facebook and Twitter handles.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, is urging government to remain committed and focused on efforts to revive the Tema Oil Refinery, TOR. This comes after TOR indicated plans to resume full operations by October 2025, a move expected to significantly reduce Ghana's reliance on imported refined petroleum products. In an interview with Citi News, the Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, stressed the importance of sustained government support in the refinery's revival process.
TOR at present has sound leadership as to whether it will have sound investment options to drive forward the refinery. I cannot say at this point, and so whatever that the state would need to do at this point to ensure that the refinery comes back on stream and the flare comes back, the CDU comes back, and that Ghanaians will see that TOR is actively contributing about 40 to 50% of net national demand daily. We should see our political leaders make every effort at this point to give the Ghanaian consumer that confidence that it won't be business as usual with the refinery and that we're going to put in whatever investments that are needed.
COPEC also stressed the need to also revitalize the bulk oil storage and transportation company BOS, describing both TOR and BOS as critical safety nets in Ghana's energy ecosystem.
Geopolitical tensions, though, may have an effect on the prices we pay for crude. We can escape importing finished products, the cost of importing finished products, as of today, I mean, in the region of some 400 million USD. We should be able to bring that down or use our refining space to be able to contain the geopolitical tensions. Again, cost would also need to be looked at because those two are your safety nets. And once you don't prop them or bring them back to some efficiency or some utilization, you are simply going to depend on other foreign markets for your supply of petroleum products, and that is unsustainable. Whatever can be done to support the management and leadership of TOR and BOST to be able to reposition at this point, I think should be the focus of government.
That was the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, Duncan Amwa. Now, the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association is urging government to utilize the existing structures of poultry groups in the implementation of its Nkokon Kitinkiti project. Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, announced at Channel 1 TV's Agri-Fair over the weekend that plans for the rollout are underway, with the launch expected in 2 to 3 months. Reacting to the announcement, Chairman of the association, Kwame Ntim-Dodo, cautioned that implementing the project directly through households could make it difficult for government to track its progress.
Some of us see this as maybe the government trying to be benevolent to Ghanaians, because if you should give 10, 20 birds, chicken to people, that means it's money you want to give Ghanaians as a benevolent act, but not to expect any payback in terms of investing that amount of money out and expecting any payback, any returns from such an investment. If the government is serious about targeting the benefits of making sure Ghana is self-sufficient in the production of poultry and its products, eggs and the meat, then we will plead that the government meets with the identified poultry bodies. The Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association is there, the Women in Poultry is there, and Accra Regional Poultry Farmers Association, a number of them across the regions, Kumasi, Central, Western regions, in the North, Brunei. So if we as a nation wants to make sure we gain from the benefits in the value chain of poultry production or poultry sector, then the approach may be different, may have to be different.
Kwame Ntim-Dodo is chairman of the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association. Now, jurors at the Accra High Court have announced plans to petition the Office of the Attorney General over the non-payment of the allowances which has triggered their ongoing strike. The strike, now in its 4th week, stems from failure to pay jurors their allowances for the past 8 months. Speaking to Citi News on condition of anonymity, a spokesperson for the group said they are still awaiting a response from the Judicial Service. However, if no feedback is received soon, they may formally take the matter to the Attorney General.
We've not heard from the Judicial Service as we speak now. So we are still waiting to hear something from them before we advise ourselves. We wanted to approach the Attorney General, and then because though he might be away, we wanted to visit his outfit, and if possible, we'll take it further. So that's what we are considering now. We've not taken a decision yet on that. We're only waiting for a while, where it's been almost a month now.
You heard spokesperson for jurors at the Accra High Court speaking to Citi News on condition of anonymity. Now, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the NPP's 2024 presidential candidate, is holding a high-level engagement with the immediate past metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives of the New Patriotic Party. Former MC for New Drubbing South, Isaac Apogisi, expressed his support for Dr. Bawumia. Let's listen to him.
I am waiting for this country to go through the transformational process that we have always been talked about. And in my view, I think that we have in His Excellency Dr. Bawumia a leader that has shown a proven track record.
Oh, that means you have selected among the lot already.
Let me say this. You know, this country, when we nurture leadership, we must always give it time to blossom. I see Dr. Baumia as somebody who has been nurtured by this country. And in my view, I think that he will be a fine president for this country.
So you're going to support him for the 2028 bid?
I mean, obviously.
Brian Champon is from your region.
Yes. Brian is another excellent gentleman. And, for me, he's also equally being prepared. I think that in the nearest future, and this NPP as a party will have leaders who will be able to hold this country and move it forward.
So you heard the former municipal chief executive for New Drubbing South, Isaac Apeljes, in an interview with my colleague Hansen Ajiman. Hansen Ajiman has joined us via the phone lines as he is following this high-level engagement of former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and past Metropolitan Municipal and District Chief Executives. Good afternoon, Hansen. Thank you so much for joining us. What's the intent of focus for today's meeting? We know a similar one happened with Kennedy Ejipon's camp last week.
So the engagement is to for Dr. Baumia to tell his message to these former MMDCs and his bid to contest for the NPP's presidential primaries in 2026 to give him the opportunity to lead the party in 2028. So it's a matter of officially letting them know that he is interested and to let them know why he should be given the opportunity again. And perhaps take feedback, and if any of the former MDCs are so minded to pledge their support to him.
We heard you speak to a former MCA, and he has declared or expressed his support for Dr. Baumia. What is the sentiment with these persons who are meeting Dr. Baumia today?
Well, it's generally one of it's a welcoming one from what we observed. But of course, until they officially declare, we cannot say if majority of them or the number of MMDCs who are in support of Dr. Baumia. But there was one that was refreshing and welcoming.
Talk to us about the numbers. From last week's video that we saw where Kennedy Ejipon met them, they were quite a number. What of today's one?
Well, they are quite a number, and I must say that the indication that we had was that the immediate past MMDCs, and so the number that they are looking at should be somewhere a little above 260. I mean, in line with the number of districts Ghana had at the time of the past government. We didn't count them individually, but they are close to the number, I can't say.
Has that meeting ended?
No, the meeting is still ongoing. It's a closed-door meeting at the moment, and so the media has been asked to excuse Dr. Baumia and the former MMDCs as they engage in issues that they may not want out there within the media space.
All right, thank you so much for your time. That was Hansen Ajiman. Hansen Ajiman is following that meeting between former Vice President and the NPP's 2024 presidential candidate, Dr. Baumia, who is meeting MMDCEs. We'll bring you an update from that meeting in our subsequent bulletins. Now, a member of Kennedy Ejipon's campaign team, Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa, has called on the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to reconsider some proposals made during the party's recently concluded National Executive Committee meeting. According to him, the January 31 deadline for the presidential primaries is too close, and the campaign team is appealing to the National Executive Committee to revise the date. Dr. Boakye Dankwa also stressed the importance of completing the polling station elections before holding the presidential primaries.
All of those. So we are suggesting that at least we know that there are a lot of resolutions that has come as a result of the Michael Quay report. And so as a result of that, we should do the polling station elections, which is to extend the number from 5 to 7. And so do a total election because the tenure comes in March. I mean, so do a total election of all the polling stations. And then afterwards, you can be able to now decide that you're going to select your flag bearer, and also suggesting that the 31st January seems a bit too close because there are a lot more candidates that are pulling off their head to lead a party. And so we are suggesting that sometime either in March or April, that will be able to give everyone an ample opportunity and ensure that there's integrity in the delegate system and electoral process.
That was Dr. Palgrave Boachidanga, who is a member of the Dr. Kennedy Ejipong campaign team. You're still listening to the City Prime News. My name is Zoe Abubeidu Ado. Still to come, 10 new cases of Mpox recorded, bringing the country's tally to 117. We'll bring the details shortly. Please stay.
City Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You will come back. Now, the Ghana Health Service has confirmed 10 new cases of Mpox in its latest update released yesterday. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 117 since the disease was first detected. No new deaths have been recorded, with the overall death toll still at 0. The service also reports that there are currently no active hospital admissions related to the disease. The public is being urged to maintain personal hygiene and avoid close physical contact with suspected cases to help prevent further spread. Away from that, customers of collapsed Gold Coast Fund Management have expressed disappointment in the government's failure to pay their remaining locked-up funds as promised. Following the financial sector cleanup, thousands of investors struggled to recover their funds, despite the erstwhile government releasing some 700 million as first tranche of the locked-up funds. A promise by the current administration to settle the rest has not been fulfilled. Convener for the aggrieved customers in an interview with Citi News urged the government to allocate funds to clear the locked-up funds in the mid-year budget.
When you look at the appropriation bill and appropriation act for the 2025 expenditure for the government, these amounts were not captured in. So was it a lip service for the government to come and seek public glory and in the reality try to place that on us? So these are the issues that we are about bringing to the limelight, and also call on the government and the finance ministry to do well to include something in the mid-year budget review, so that in this year we understand that the government may not be able to pay the money in a whole, but at least something out of the almost 6 billion that is still in outstanding, something, a quarter of it will be good for the staff.
Charles Nyame is convener for the aggrieved customers of defunct Gold Coast Fund Management. Now, marine canoe artisanal fishers will be exempted from the 2025 closed fishing season as part of efforts to protect the livelihoods of coastal communities. This was indicated or revealed by the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Emilia Arthur, during the announcement of this year's closed fishing season, which begins on July 1 and will last for 2 months. The closed season is part of government's broader strategy to ensure the sustainability of Ghana's marine resources. The minister, however, clarified that the exemption does not absolve artisanal fishers from adhering to other traditional and statutory fisheries regulations.
In line with established timelines, industrial trawlers will observe a 2-month close season from 1st July to 31st August 2025. Semi-industrial inshore vessels will observe a 1-month closure from 1st to 31st July 2025. These measures are consistent with Ghana's national fisheries strategy and best practices for sustainable resource management aimed at replenishment and regeneration of fish stocks in our oceans. Marine canoe artisanal fishers are exempted from observing the 2025 closed season. However, this exemption does not absolve artisanal fishers from complying with other traditional and statutory fishery regulations.
You heard the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Emilia Arthur. Now, the 2022 batch of Colleges of Education trained teachers this morning picketed at the Ghana Education Services over delays in receiving staff IDs and 10 months of unpaid salaries. Melody Fafa-Potufe is my colleague who has been following this story. She joins us over the phone lines from the headquarters of the Ghana Education Service. Good afternoon, Melody. What can you report from the Ghana Education Service?
Good afternoon, Zoe. So I've been here this morning, and the leadership of the Ghana Education Service just ended a meeting, a closed-door meeting with the aggrieved teachers. This time, they were all allowed to go inside to participate in the meeting. Now, after the meeting, they came down to address the media, but it looks like the teachers are not so convinced or so pleased with the outcome of the meeting. According to the leadership of the Ghana Education Service who addressed them, Professor Smile GC, he is the Deputy Director General of the service. He says that teachers should turn down their demands in a document form and present it to the service before any headway can be made on their demands. So far, they said it's sort of like a vicious cycle. In April, they picketed. Now they are back here, and 10 months without salary hasn't been easy on them. So they are not leaving the premises of the Ghana Education Service until their demands are met.
Did they tell you what the meeting with the Ghana Education Service entailed this morning?
Well, so according to the GES, they say they do not know why the teachers are here to picket. So they officially laid down their demands or their concerns about their staff IDs, about their financial clearance, which has led to the non-payment of 10 months of their salaries since they were posted. So they outlined all of those things to the GES. That was when they told them that the Director General is currently out of town, but then if their demands are, a committee will fast-track the process together with 5 teachers selected out of their group teachers to ensure that all their demands are met.
We know you've also been speaking to some of these aggrieved persons. Can you tell or share with us some of their personal stories or experiences without being paid for 10 months?
Well, quite profound of the people I engaged was a nursing mother, Sewa Kran. I clearly remember her name, and she made mention of the fact that she stays in a Saman, but then she was posted and she paid only 6 months of her rent, and after that, she hasn't been able to pay the rest because she has to fend for herself and for her child, and now she's just dodging her landlords and all of that. She says that the position that she's been put in hasn't been easy on her, and she always has to go to school with money from herself and not because she has been given her salary, and it has had a profound impact on her.
Did any official from the Ghana Education Service meet these persons or these trained teachers?
Well, apart from the Citi Director General of GES, that's Professor Smile GC, we also had other directors of the service and also the public relations officer of the service, that's Daniel Fengi, came down to mobilize them and also called in the Deputy Director General for any meetings or anything to be held.
Thank you for your time. That's my colleague Melody Fafa Potufe reporting from the Ghana Education Service headquarters. Let's now listen to the Deputy Director of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Smile GC, addressing the trained teachers.
Odamo Haruna is a very listening person. He's been working very hard with the Director General, all of us, to solve problems. There are so many categories of teachers, and there are a lot of issues that we have been solving since January. Even 2 weeks ago, the Director General himself, my good self, my brother, and other directors, we had a meeting with the controller, Akata controller himself, and his team at their place just to find solutions to some of these numerous problems. And as you said, some of the problems are getting solved. So how can I stand in the sun here and provide all the answers to your problem now? As I sit here, please, I don't even know the category of teachers I am speaking to. I'm saying that I don't know. And we are ready to solve, and we even have a technical committee. Technical committee has been formed just to solve all these problems one after the other. So I want to indulge you to please put all these issues on paper, submit them to me, select 5 leaders who sit down and solve the problem.
That's the Deputy Director of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Smile GC. Now, Ibrahim Eje, former Assistant Secretary of the Office of the former President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has cautioned Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, to be more discreet with his public comments. His remarks follow a statement from the Office of the Special Prosecutor with dismissed claims by Professor Jampo suggesting that the investigation into former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is driven by a personal feud. Reacting to the development on Channel 1 TV's Breakfast Daily, Ibrahim Ejay warned that such comments risk undermining the integrity of the OSP and its ongoing investigations.
You're impugning that what the OSP is doing is not in the interest of the state by wanting to settle personal scores. Now you put the OSP in the dock. Now anything they do, portion of the public can say, this one is not true. Him, as in Kisi Ajeben, Ken Ofori-Atta, they are settling scores. So now we get distracted from looking at the merits of the investigation and looking at something that Professor Jampo has now told us to look at. That there's a personal score given your position. I'm trying to explain to Professor Jampo that be measured in how you conduct your affairs in the public.
Former Secretary at the Office of the former President Nana Akufo-Addo, Ibrahim Ejay. Now stakeholders within the agricultural value chain are calling for more deliberate efforts to make the sector appealing to the youth. This follows the successful 3-day agri-fair at Accra's Afa Sutherland Park, which attracted thousands of patrons, farmers, agribusinesses and policymakers. There is more on this report filed by Daniel Sakete.
Organized by Channel 1 TV with support from Citi FM, the 2025 edition of Agri-Fair highlighted the vast potential of Ghana's agricultural sector and the critical role young people can play in driving innovation and growth. Despite the sector's potential, many young Ghanaians continue to show limited interest in agriculture, often citing barriers such as lack of access to land, financing, and modern tools. Minister for Food and Agriculture Eric Opoku addressed these concerns during the event, outlining the government's efforts to implement targeted policies aimed at making agriculture more attractive and accessible to the youth.
Nature has bestowed on us a lot of agricultural potentials. We have the land in abundance, we have water, we have cheap labor, and we are close to market after a year. So we have what it takes to use agriculture to engender economic growth. And that is why His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, has set for this government an agenda called Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda. And to be able to actualize this, we have a flagship program, which is called the Feed Ghana program. The purpose of this program, or the intention, is to ensure that we are able to produce enough food, feed the people of Ghana, as well as industries.
Adding his voice, Selom Agudu, chief farmer at Urban Jungle Agro Limited, urged young people not to be discouraged by outdated perceptions of farming. He stressed that agriculture is evolving and offers opportunities for entrepreneurship and innovation.
We as farmers are doing the work we do for a reason. We want to change Ghana. We want people to eat what we grow in this country. We want more people to turn their gaze back to the farm and understand that, hey, there's money to be made in the farm and we can feed our country. So we do what we do because we want more people to come and do the same thing. So we appreciate the partnership, we appreciate the publicity. We want more people to see this and understand that the farm is where the action is. Come, let's farm.
Some patrons at the fair also called on both government and private sector actors to invest in agri-tech solutions. They emphasized the need to train and support young farmers in using modern tools such as irrigation systems, drones, and data platforms.
The world is moving forward. We are moving away from the cutlass and the hose. We are moving to more sophisticated technologies that can make it much easier. It's just that it comes at an expense, right? So we are also trying to find ways to locally bring it here into Ghana. I mean, this is something that has been done in the Western world in many ways. But I mean, once we are able to support each other to grow, we can have more technologies like this that can make agriculture attractive to homes, young people, etc.
Despite these ongoing challenges, many patrons and vendors praise Citi FM and Channel 1 TV for transforming Agri-Fair 2025 into a vibrant platform for promoting agriculture and mobilizing national support for the sector.
It's been crazy. With the numbers we've had, we didn't expect. This has been a very well organized, well publicized, and the crowds have really responded well to whatever you guys did. So kudos to you.
This happens to be one of the most patronized, both in terms of people that I've seen going around and also in terms of the sales that have been made while we've been here. Since Friday, every single day we have sold out. I'm expecting that today as well we'll sell out. And each time we've almost doubled the amount of product that we bring in.
Frema Edunyami, Head of Events and Partnerships at Citi FM and Channel One TV, expressed appreciation for the strong turnout and positive feedback from participants, describing this year's fair as a major success.
A lot of people are very excited about the Agri Fair. People keep asking if we can do it once a month. I was like, what? I mean, that's going to be a difficult one, but it also tells that people are excited about it and they would really want to see this happen very often. So we are taking the feedback and we'll ensure that we will see what we can do about it. If we can do maybe twice a year, okay, but that's up for discussion.
Head of Events and Partnerships at Channel One TV and Citi FM Frema Edunyami ending the report filed by Citi News' Daniel Sakete. The Agri-Fair 2025 was powered by Channel One TV with support from 97.3 Citi FM and proudly sponsored by the Ghana Exim Bank, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Development Bank Ghana, Agri Impact Limited, the Horticulture Business Platform, Trillium Ghana Limited, and Agri-Fair's technology partner, Farmer Line. And that's how we end City Prime News, which came to you live from our studio in Adabraka. Log on to our website, citynewsroom.com, for more news. I am Zoe Abubeidu Adum. Have a good afternoon.
City News.